Now, on to something else that we just can't avoid talking about this week. Caitlin Clark, breaking hearts. Caitlin Clark versus Michigan State. My first time watching Michigan State this year, I had, Coach had raved about them a little bit, said he thought they were a good team. What I saw out of Michigan State was like really a gutsy performance, especially from a team that's not ranked. The Michigan State team, where those ladies, put up a fight where they were in a position to go to overtime or win this thing. And every time it seemed like Iowa was getting away, Michigan State made a push to kind of get back into the game, and they just kind of ran out of time. The last play of the game, I'll have to go back and watch it. I think that if I remember correctly, the player went under the screen and she should have went over. We got spun around a little bit and lost Caitlin. Hard way to lose the game, but she'll never make that mistake again. So, great mistake to learn in January and not in March. So, tough one to take for Michigan State, but I expect the Lady Spartans to bounce back. Caitlin. Okay, here's the thing about Caitlin. Caitlin is a baller. Caitlin's got game. I don't have anything but respect for her skill set. But, y'all, I'm not a Caitlin Clark fan like that. Like, I'm not tuning in to the Iowa games. They don't bring me to the screen. I may not have dived enough into the backstory, because a lot of times for me, y'all, it's the backstory to a player that brings me to the game. So I'm learning about Caitlin. I respect Caitlin. I'm looking forward to seeing Caitlin in the WNBA. I'm really hoping that she goes to the draft this year and goes to Indiana, so I can see what that looks like with Aaliyah Boston. But amazing 3-point shooter. She dropped 40 on their heads. Started a little slow, but got it together. Ice in the veins. Ice in the veins. In a Steph Kobe kind of type way. No doubt who's going to shoot the shot at the end of the game if she's on the floor. But it seems like if you get physical and you get strategic with Iowa, you got a chance. So I'll stop there and let you speak, Coach, because you know way more about these two teams than I do.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So what I'm impressed about my Michigan State Spartans is that there's an equal distribution. And this is what I spoke about last week about the love for the game, understanding the fundamentals, running the plays, and sharing the basketball. I'm going to call off some numbers for you. 8, 10, 14, 16, 6, 10, 9. Those are the points of all of the players that scored on the Michigan team. Very, 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 very balanced, okay? So they have a formula that can give a team that's centered on one, maybe 1.5 players, and they should have won this game. Like Seth said, what they did was they countered the dynamic individual talent with team play. Now, as you mentioned, Seth mentioned 40 points by Caitlin. Now, let me run these numbers by you. 15, 8, 6, 3, and 4. This is the formula that I've seen that could cause Iowa some problems. It's like a double-edged sword. This is an extraordinary, unique talent that we have not seen in a long time. Speaking of Caitlin Clark, she's a very, very precise shooter. She cannot be given any daylight to shoot. When she's given daylight to shoot, she will make you pay. She has a number of accomplishments and things that she's done throughout her, what we will call a short career so far, since the age of 16, all types of FIBA championships and things of that nature. But this game in particular stood out because it showed that this Iowa team is solely reliant on Caitlin Clark. Now, you may think, well, is that a bad thing? Kind of, if we're talking about doing things past conference play and we're going to get into that a little later. But this game to me was a microcosm of what could go real good for a team with a superstar in Caitlin Clark, and what a team that shares the ball, they learn something from this game. they learned, like you mentioned, some of the strategy, getting physical, and literally running through their plays, sticking to their game plan, and wearing a team like this down. Because Iowa's not really high powered. They rely heavily on the 3-point shot, heavily on a 3-point shot. So this game was an interesting game because it was kind of like a tale of two halves. Michigan State was in control in the first half. As a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, Seth, they were either down 2 or up 2 at halftime.
I believe
So
they're up to, and they
they
led
were
for
up
a few
2.
times. They led for a few times in this game.
Right.
I got a question for you. So
Mm-hmm.
Caitlin Clark, she dropped the 40 on the head. I didn't see a lot of defense.
No,
I didn't see a lot of defense.
not at all.
So
Not a
I'm
lot of
wondering,
defense
is
at
that a
all.
part of her game? You know, does she have can she step up and shut somebody down?
No,
Or is she relying on being able to allow you to make a 2 and I'm going to go down and make a 3? And
no.
3 is
She's
more than 2
relying
all
on
the time.
scoring is her defense.
Because I hear people say a lot of times that she is like the Steph Curry of women's college basketball, and
Okay.
I take issue with that
Okay.
because she
That's
may
where
be
we're
like
going too far.
she may be a young Steph, but I
That's
think
where
people
we're
don't
going
give
too
a
far.
lot of.
They're going too far. They're going too
Okay,
far.
I mean, I don't think people give Steph enough credit for where his defense has grown, in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not saying that Steph, is shut down defender, but when it comes time, the chef can make a shutdown play.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen him make a couple plays to stop some blocks, some steals, some knockaways, and so he's very in tune to that part of the game and really working on building that part of his game. So I was just wondering, like, if this was an off game for Caitlin, and she also has that shutdown defense. So I'm really more impressed by the two-way players. I find that for me, if I'm going to build a team, it always starts with defense, because I figure if you can stop them enough, I can teach you how to get the ball in the hoop. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like you said, though, this game here is Michigan State kind of were caught playing Iowa's game when they stuck to the physical running plays, going from inside out. They controlled it. When they go down and try to play their game, you're going to lose that. A lot of teams are going to lose that. Like I said, we're going to get to that a little later in the show as far as like why we're kind of laying a foundation of this Iowa team and what their strengths are, because it's going to segue into something else we'll talk about real soon.
but Caitlin is definitely one of those weapons where if you keep it close,
Mm-hmm.
she can close it at the end of the game. So
Mm-hmm.
that's definitely a great weapon to have on your team.